The row that rocked K. Junamoon and Fan Wang reporting from Seoul and Singapore. It took a huge amount of courage to speak out, NewJeans have told the BBC in their first interview since a court blocked their attempt to leave their record label in a case that has rocked the K-pop industry. Hani, Hyun, Haerin, Danielle, and Minji stunned South Korea and fans everywhere with their decision in November to split from Adore, the label that launched them. They alleged mistreatment, workplace harassment, and an attempt to undermine their careers, which Adore denies. It sued to enforce their 7-year contract, which is set to expire in 2029, and against any commercial activities by the group, sought an injunction. On Friday, a South Korean court, ordering NewJeans to stop all independent activities, including song releases and advertising deals, while the case was still underway. NewJeans has since challenged the injunction in court. Granted, Friday's ruling was a shock, the group told the BBC. Some people think that we're famous enough to do whatever we want and say whatever we please. But the truth is, it's not like that at all, Hien said. We held it in for a long time, and only now have we finally spoken up about what we think, what we feel, and the unfairness we've experienced. BBC, Yoojin Choi. The K-pop industry has repeatedly come under fire for the pressure it puts on its stars not only to perform and succeed, but to appear perfect. But rarely do conflicts spill into the public, exposing stars' grievances and rifts with their labels. NewJeans' dramatic announcement last year followed a long and public spat with Adore and its parent company, HYBE, South Korea's biggest music label, whose client list includes K-pop royalty such as BTS and 17. Adore told the BBC in a statement that the contract with NewJeans still stands, adding that most of their claims have risen from misunderstandings. The court said that NewJeans did not sufficiently prove that Adore had violated the contract, adding that the label had upheld most of its duties, including payment. The girls were rehearsing for a performance in Hong Kong when news of the ruling dropped. They found out when Minji got a worried message from her mother. She asked me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What happened?" I was stunned, Minji says. So were the others when she told them.
At first I thought I didn't hear her properly, Danielle says. We were all kind of in shock. This was their second of 2 interviews with the BBC in as many weeks. In the first interview, which happened before the ruling, the group had been excited to release their new single, Pit Stop, their first since they announced their break from Adore and renamed themselves NJZ. They spoke about how they coped with a difficult period, including finding comfort in cooking. I am not really good at it, but it's kind of healing, Minji had said, before promising to cook an amazing dinner for the group. BBC Yoojin Choi in the second interview, which was 24 hours after the ruling, they seemed disheartened and unsettled, less sure of what was to come. If we knew we were going to go through this, maybe we would have chosen. Hani trailed off as she teared up. Seconds later, she continued, I am sure time would figure it out for us. The following night, they took to the stage in Hong Kong and, despite the court order, performed Pit Stop under their new name. But the evening, which they had pitched to fans as a fresh start, ended in tears as they told the crowd they were going on a hiatus. It wasn't any easy decision to make, Hyen said on stage, as each of them took turns to address their fans. But at the moment for us, it's about protecting ourselves so that we can come back stronger. Just 3 years into their debut, the future of the young stars there aged between 16 and 20 is now in question. But they tell the BBC that this is not the end of the road for them as they find more ways forward. With the legal battle expected to last for months, if not years, Minji says that gives them time to plan what they want to do next. Getty Images. Ever since they debuted in July 2022, NewJeans have delivered remarkable success with each new release. OMG, Ditto, Super Shy, Attention. A year on, they were the 8th biggest selling act in the world. Critics called them a game changer as their uniquely playful blend of 1990s R&B and sugar-coated pop melodies broke through a K-pop market dominated by electronic beats. And their breezy dance moves stood out among super synchronized videos. They were still on the rise when Adore's former boss and their longtime mentor, who launched them, began trading accusations publicly with HYBE.
The core of this issue lies in the label's ex-management providing distorted explanations to their artists, leading to misunderstandings. They can be fully addressed and resolved upon the members' return to the label, Ador told the BBC in a statement. In the months since, Hani, a Vietnamese Australian, to South Korean lawmakers in an inquiry into workplace harassment. I came to the realization that this wasn't just a feeling. Testified in tears, NewJeans' case was dismissed because the Labor Ministry said and were not entitled to the same rights. K-pop stars did not qualify as workers. Then in December, NewJeans took another rare step by supporting fans who were calling for the impeachment of South Korea's disgraced president, Yoon Suk-yeol, who had briefly imposed martial law. The group provided free food and drinks to fans who showed up at the huge protest rallies. With each round of publicity, there was also criticism, much of it involving their age. Some said they had crossed the line, while others called them stupid and reckless, and even ungrateful for picking a fight with Ador. Others questioned if they were making their own decisions. Being young doesn't mean they should be taken less seriously, the group says. That's an easy way to devalue the fact that we are actually trying to do something, Hani says. The decisions we've made in the past year have been decided through a very, very large amount of discussion between us. Getty Images. As the dispute has dragged on, the critics have got louder, dubbing the girls as troublemakers rather than game changers. Following the ruling, which their critics welcomed, NewJeans say they have been very aware of the intense scrutiny and judgment ever since they held that press conference last year. There hasn't been a single moment when we've expressed our opinions without worry or tension, Minji says. We've thought more than anyone else about how much responsibility each of our actions carries, and we're currently bearing that responsibility ourselves. It's not clear how long their hiatus will last. Ador says it hopes to meet the group soon to discuss the future, but NewJeans insists they don't feel protected enough to go back. It has to be all five of us that agrees to do it. That's how we've gotten here, and that's how we are going to get to the end. On Saturday, she repeated, "We're going to get through it."